Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, KK Kaneshiro. The Fremont Unified School District is full of students accomplishing remarkable things, and today we feature two from Washington High School. Noticing a lack of computer science lessons available either online or as a textbook, Washington senior Moaz Jawa created an online course and also a book of his own, now utilized by thousands of students around the world. Also with us is Washington junior Hafana Zakir Hussein, whose online talk on racial relation has earned her an invitation to New York City to speak at the headquarters of the popular TED Talks this December. Thank you so much for being here. I hope I didn't mess up on your names too badly.
Okay. We're really excited to be here.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you, Moaz, you are a full-time student. You wrote an online course, and you wrote a hard copy textbook. Do you have a life? I mean, that must have taken forever, right?
Yeah. The course actually took about 3 months, and the book took 9 months. But
wow.
Yeah, it was a tough process, but I think it was something that I actually started to enjoy to do. When I initially started it, there were a lot of hurdles along the way, but eventually it became something that I kind of look forward to. So it became my life, actually.
Okay, so why did it take the hard copy book, a little longer than the online? I would thought the reverse.
Yeah, I thought it would have been the reverse too, but actually it turns out that there are two different reasons for that. The first is I'm not the best English student. My English teachers can attest to that.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
You can write a book about that later.
Yeah. So that was one of the reasons, actually. I think that I was just a little bit of a slow writer. I really like to perfect everything I write.
Yeah.
And then additionally, kind of with any test prep book, I was trying to add as many practice tests as possible and practice questions, something that I didn't have as much of in my online course. And I think that adding that in was something that took a lot more time because it took a lot more thinking.
Okay, so when did you actually start writing all this? When you were in junior?
Yeah, so I started this summer right after my sophomore year, June of 2015.
Wow. Then how were you able to get the book out to the thousands of other students? I mean, how does that work?
So the way that worked, actually, it was really cool. Initially, I tried to publish the book, so I would reach out. I emailed publishers asking them, if I can write a book, and all of them, they're like, you're in high school, or they said, it'll take a couple of years.
Yeah.
And that way didn't work out for me, so I tried to go the self-publishing route. And there's this really cool company called CreateSpace, which is owned by Amazon, and they allow you to actually, if you upload a PDF of your book and upload a cover design, they'll publish the book for you. So it becomes really easy for anyone, like a high schooler like myself too, to be able to publish a book. So that's actually the process I was able to use. And as soon as I kind of wrote the book, I had a PDF, I uploaded it to CreateSpace. After that, suddenly the book is live on Amazon within just a few days. And suddenly I'm reaching millions of people across the globe.
That's amazing. Wow, I just can't imagine. That was like 3 jobs you had right there in your high school. Okay, now Hafana Zakir, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay. You talked about racial relations as a club project. First of all, what was the premise of the project? Was it just a class project that every student had to come up with their own?
So at Washington, we have a TED Ed Club, and it's a club that's affiliated with the TED organization.
Okay.
And it was started in during our freshman year, which would be, 2014? Somewhere around there. And basically, we were all starting out pretty new. We didn't have much of experience. So we were just supposed to pick something that we were really passionate about.
Okay.
And I've always been really passionate about the idea of equality. And from the things that we see around, especially right now, I just think racial equality and racial relations are a pretty important topic to talk about.
Right. So did you do your own videotaping and everything?
Yeah, we did. Towards the end of the school year in May, we all performed our TED Talks right in front of a small audience of our friends, and we recorded those talks and sent it to the TED organization. And
you were picked.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I understand you go to New York at the TED Talks headquarters, and are they going to replay this in front of the whole audience?
Actually, I will be presenting my talk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of pressure. Are you excited though?
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Good.
I've been talking to the TED people for the past 3 months,
Nice.
and it's been a really enlightening experience.
Oh, I bet. What a great thing.
Thank
God,
you.
we got 2 famous students right here. This is amazing. Now, again, you know, for anyone out there that's watching, you have to be super organized, and I'm just fascinated how you were able to do the online programming, the hard copy textbook, plus your schoolwork. You were doing a video, talking to TED Talks, and your schoolwork. How do you organize yourself, just so if anyone's out there and they want to possibly achieve their dreams, how would you suggest? What was a number 1 organization tip you can give? Because this is work.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, one of the most important things in terms of organizing yourself for a huge project is setting dates and trying to stick to them. I think that because the book, was going to be a 9-month process. Actually, I expected it to, be a 3-month process. I'd get it done, but at the end of when I was trying to reach my benchmarks and I wasn't hitting them, I realized that I need to space out the dates in between a little bit more for my goal. So I think the most important thing before you start a project is figure out every single step along the way, and set some dates for yourself, and then don't necessarily have to stick to those dates, but try to stick to them and continue adjusting them to be able to do your best.
Yeah, because life happens.
Yep.
It does.
For me, I've always found that schoolwork comes first before anything. I will try to finish that first. And with everything else for TED, we had a lot of deadlines from advance. So it'll be like, oh yeah, you need to have this done, this done, this done on this day. So it was more like me adjusting my TED stuff around my own coursework and figuring out how to finish it before that deadline.
So this is great. You have an organizational chart of how you're going to get these things done. I like that. Okay, good. Now, how much research did you have to do, or how much was involved in you making your video? How much research did you do?
I did quite a lot of research because when you're presenting a talk, you don't want to be wrong, right? So actually, my inspiration for the talk was this NPR radiocast, and it basically they were talking about how a African American preschool child was expelled for biting a child's hand, when in fact a white child did the same thing, and the worst that he got was a phone call home and a timeout. And I just thought, why the difference? And that really made me think about how we perceive people of different races without knowing them, and the assumptions that we make. And I had to look at a lot of studies and look at the psychological things behind it. And it was a lengthy process, but in the end, I learned so much. It was completely worth it.
Oh, I bet. I find out everyone's the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants their kids to be happy. Everyone wants a healthy life. Everyone wants a home and security. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Good for you. So how much research did you have to do, and how much time did you devote to that?
So I actually didn't have to do too much research. The research was right in front of me, and I actually was part of the research. So actually what happened was in 9th grade, computer science has been something I've loved since middle school. So 9th grade, I come to Washington High School, and the first thing I want to do is take a computer science class. And actually what I find out is a computer science class isn't offered there. And that's when I really started to realize that gap that exists in society today, where not everyone can get their opportunity to learn more about computer science. And from there, I did a little bit of research, and I found that less than 10% of high schools across the U.S. actually offer a computer science course. Yeah,
Wow.
And that was something that surprised me. And Washington
Especially
High
in
School.
this day and age.
Yeah, and Washington High School is in the heart of Silicon Valley, and at that time didn't offer a computer science course. And it was something that originally I just kind of learned computer science on my own, but then I wanted to help other people do that as well.
That's great. Now, is Fremont Unified School District taking your books and implementing some computer science classes?
So that's actually the hope, to do that on a large scale, but as of right now at Washington High School, we finally got an AP Computer Science course this year. Yeah, that was really exciting. So I'm actually the teaching assistant for that course, so I get to help out a little bit, and a lot of the students in the class are using copies of my book to learn, and the hope is to use this year as kind of the pilot study, and then make some improvements and put out a second edition, and then see how far we can take that.
So what's it like when you see your name on a book?
That was the most exciting part.
I bet.
Yep. When you saw the first like printed copy of the book, that was by far the most exciting part.
Nice.
Like I was like, my name's on a book.
Yeah, I know. And
Yeah.
then what's it like with all this attention you must be receiving?
I think it's a very humbling process. I think it teaches you so much of, the opportunity even as a high schooler you have to help other people out and
Yes.
really do something that you really like to do. So I think it's taught me a lot about, I guess, going for what I want to go for. I think it's kind of encouraged me to continue going for what I'm motivated for and just
Yeah.
do my best.
Yeah. And for you, the attention, is it scary? Is it humbling like he said, or?
It definitely is scary. It's also very humbling because a lot of people come up to you and are like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna be famous" or something like that, and it's like I didn't realize it that way, And when people point it out, it's like, "Oh, right, like that's what's happening right now," and
Right.
it's very humbling to think that people think that you're doing something so great, right? When in fact you're just doing something you're passionate about.
I think that's key, and I think that's important that our viewers hear that, because there's a lot of people out there that just want to go out there and be famous for whatever reason, and you started this from your heart, from your passion, and now look where you're going. This is great. Now I got to ask you, are you going to be a teacher when you grow up?
I really want to.
Oh,
And,
really?
Yeah. Actually, a funny story is kind of starting out high school, I was like, oh, who cares about being a teacher? And now by the end of high school, after this experience, just being able to teach other people, I realized that teaching is something I love, and teaching requires a lot of hard work. Being able to
Yes.
connect with students, work with them,
Yes.
staying persistent is something that's very important for teaching, and I've actually fallen in love with it. So
That's great.
I
That's something.
definitely agree with that. I do this extracurricular thing where I volunteer as a student teacher, and I teach younger preschoolers the language of Tamil, and it's an extra thing that I do. And it's very interesting to see preschoolers grasp a language and connecting with like what's primarily their own culture and
Yeah.
like their heritage. And they're just so excited when they learn something new, or they learn a new like name for a color or a vegetable.
when they get it.
When they get it, they love it. And it's really a humbling experience because like, wow, I actually got through to them and they understand what I'm saying, and I'm doing something to help my community, and it's a great feeling.
Oh my goodness. Now, for your book, when your books are coming to the classroom, did you have to order these books, or how does this work? Did the school district order them?
So in this case, because it was the first year, the students ordered them themselves. But the goal for the future is that the school itself will order the book.
Okay.
So kind of like a class set.
So
that
every
they
student
pass.
will have their
Yes.
own copy. This is great. And then, how does it tie into your online? So if I got your book and I'm taking a chapter and I'm learning about whatever, if I get stuck, can I go online and get more help, or is that how that works?
That's kind of how it works. The
Okay.
inspiration behind the book was I started off with the online course and I got some success with it, with thousands of students using it. And then the next step was to find another medium to be able to reach students. And I know as a high school student myself, books are still a big deal, especially test prep books.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to use that as another medium to be able to reach out to high school students. So the way I think of it, the book and online course, you can work with them together. Some people are better learning when they hear someone talking to them. Some people are better learning
True.
when they hear someone, or they get to read it out themselves. And then the book has a lot of extra practice problems that they can use as well.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to go back to you for a second here. When you give your presentation at the TED Talks headquarters, how many people are going to be in the audience? Do you know?
160 people.
You know, wow.
Yeah.
And these are people from all over the area or the world?
The world, yeah.
Wow. Break a leg in a good way. Okay, but that's awesome. So, will you have copies of your video, or will it be online that if I can't go to Washington or New York, I can see it?
I'm pretty sure they're going to post the video of all of the TED Talks that are being presented there,
Okay.
like the 17 of them, that on the website itself, maybe like 2 weeks later. So
Okay.
we'll see it.
So if I can't make it, I can wait 2 weeks and watch you.
Yeah,
This
definitely.
is great. Your whole family's going to be watching you, right?
Yeah, they
That-
are.
And these are videos, by the way. TED Talk videos get viewed millions of
Oh, I
times.
know.
So millions of
I'm
people
one of the
around world.
viewing
Yeah,
audiences. I
me
love
too,
TED
me
Talk.
too.
Yeah, they're great. Now, what do you think the lessons that you, through your processes, whether it was your video, your online text, or your hard copy textbook, what were some of the lessons that you learned that you didn't expect to learn? What surprised you?
Right.
It surprised me how much effort it takes to present your idea, because I'm a very like expressive person. I like talking to people about my opinions. I like debating, and that's just something that I find enjoyable. And when you're presenting a talk, you are trying to have a conversation with like an audience, and you want to make sure that you reach every person in that audience, because people have different perspectives.
Right.
So you need to make sure your language is appropriate, your tone is appropriate,
Your
and
body language.
your body language is appropriate, your visuals are appropriate. And I just think through this experience itself, I have become a much better public speaker, and
Nice.
that's a great quality to have, I
Yes, it
believe.
is. Did you watch some previous TED Talks to see how other speakers handle
Oh,
it?
I love TED. I watch TED Talks all
so
the
you
time.
know.
Yeah.
Perfect. So what lessons have you learned?
I think for me, the primary lesson, kind of actually the opposite of what she said, things don't have to be as hard as you think they may be.
Right.
So for me, I think that when I started out with the process, I often thought that age would be a limiting factor for me, being a high schooler trying to publish a book or make my own online course.
Meaning you didn't think adults would take you seriously. Okay.
Yeah. And one of the things I found out that every hurdle you face along the way of any process, there's always a way around. You just have to, stick to it. So, for example, when I was starting to build the online course, obviously building an online course, you need a lot of equipment, microphones, video recording equipment, and I didn't have that.
Right.
And I needed to set up kind of like an in-house studio. So I started reaching out to corporate companies nearby, and I would just cold call business executives. I just, call them up and say,
Good for you.
"Hi, I'm a high schooler. I need money." And a lot of them would just, put the phone down. But a
Right.
few of them listened, and I got better at explaining my ideas to them over time too.
In 30 seconds or less.
Yes, exactly, an elevator pitch. And I finally actually found a company named Udemy who actually hosts my course, and they completely supported me financially to build this
Nice.
entire course.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
things like that
amazing.
along the way that taught me actually that age is something that you can actually use to your benefit, and something that definitely is not a limiting factor.
Absolutely. Good for you. Good for you.
They always, at TED, they always make a big deal about how young voices are really important to share, which is why they even...
They are.
Yeah, which is why they started this, the inaugural TED Ed weekend, right? This is the first time they're trying to do it with like youth speakers from around the world. So it's just, they take you so seriously, and they like give you the same types of processes that
You feel
they would give.
validated.
Yeah, you feel validated, and also you understand that your ideas are important. And
Yes.
a lot of times, especially high school students, we don't often feel that way, that when we get older we'll understand things better. But it just, when you have a good idea, I think you should act on it, right?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
great. So what's next for you?
For me, well,
Graduating?
I'm actually leaving for New York on Thursday.
Nice.
And I'll present my talk on Saturday,
Okay.
and I'll be back on Sunday. So that's the main
Whirlwind.
thing that's on my
Yeah.
main thing on my mind right now.
That's good. What's next for you?
For me, I think one of the main things on my mind is actually senior year. Last year of high school, closing everything out. It's been a really fun time.
This
and
is great.
I'm really excited for that. But
Okay.
in terms of, I look forward to continue updating the book and working with students and seeing how I can make improvements to help them better learn, and continuing along with that process.
That's great.
I
Well,
can't wait to take the
congratulations.
class next year.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, congratulations to both of you. Thank you so much for
thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
from
for
everyone
having
here at
us.
Community Conversations, we appreciate your watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.